Okay, so welcome back from our little long weekend. I want you guys to, we've already done a little bit of review with the booklet and the quizzes. I want you to try to pull back on or try to remember again on the live quizzes what something like this would be. And we talked about this, the same idea. I want you writing this down. I think it helps you to kind of just have it written down in front of you. We could do notes, but sometimes I feel like this is just even a little bit better. And I'm going to use this video for anyone that's out as well, just to kind of go over the concepts and what's going on. So here we go. What would we do for this one? Remember, both of these. This is a negative, so go ahead and try to handle that problem for me on your own. If you're really struggling, maybe reach to a partner, be like, hey, what do you do here again? Or just kind of ask a question to the teacher as well. Remember, this has to go and turn positive, but when it does that, it goes to the bottom, okay? Now that it's done that, now it's flipped and become positive. It's flipped sides and become positive, so that's super helpful. So make sure you handle that. Sorry about that, got interrupted real quick, but it's all good. Let's go ahead and go about this. Remember, this cannot be your final answer without putting a 1 on top, okay? Now, same thing here, 2 to the 5th with a 1 on top. All right, so this is review. Now let me show you the little bit of kind of the same concept, but what if it was flipped around? So erase your boards. I want you to try this on your own, thinking about what we've just done. What if I said, this is your question? What are you going to do to change that? Now, think of the same concept we just did. When it was on the top, we had to flip it to the bottom. Now that it's on the bottom, we can't leave it there. It has to go ahead and flip to the top. So we're going to go ahead and flip this to the top, make it positive. Do we have to put a 1 underneath? You can. You don't need to. This is your final answer. All right? It flipped. It kind of did the reverse right there, right? So what if I said 1 over 2 to the negative 3? It would flip to the top and be 2 to the 3rd. What could this also turn into? What's 2 times 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that could also be 8, which we haven't really talked about much, but I want you to start thinking. That's what that means. 2 to the 3rd means 2 times 2 times 2. So if this answer wasn't there, but this one was, then that would be your answer. All right, you got to be kind of a detective. All right, now we're going to get into some more higher level stuff. So quick review. If I said x to the 4th, x to the 8th, what's that going to equal? Go ahead and do that one for me. All right, so when we look at this one, we see that there's a battle going on. The top's not going to win, the bottom's going to win. So the bottom's going to have the answer. The bottom wins, but how much does it win by? These 4 take out 4 of these guys, so it becomes 1 over x to the 4th. You got to put that 1 on top. All right, makes sense? The 4 came down and subtracted the 8. All right, now let's get a little tricky here. So what if I said x to the 4th, x to the negative 8th? You can't do anything until you get rid of this negative. You cannot do anything with battling. There's no battle happening until you get rid of this negative. So what can you do? What did we say a second ago? That has to go to the top. So x to the 4th on the top. Guess what else is on the top? You're going to bring that up, and it's going to be x to the 8. Does that make sense? You can't have a negative. You got to flip it. You got to flip it. All right? So now, look what you have on the top. You could put a 1 here, but you don't have to if there's nothing down there. What do you have here? Can you solve this? This is going to be added, and you're going to get x to the 12th. All right? Little confusing. Let's do one that's a little simpler. I kind of threw one at you that was a little more intense. All right? What if I said 4 to the negative 3rd over 4 to the 5th? All right, what if it was just this? Remember, if it was just this, it would have been 1 over 4 to the 3rd, right? If it was just that, use that same concept in your brain. Use that same concept. We have to move this down. We have to flip it because it's negative. It can't stay negative. So now 4 to the 5th is here, but we're going to flip it with a 4 to the 3rd as well. All right, so what do you do with these? It becomes 4 to the 8th. And is that your final answer? Nope, you got to put a 1 on top. All right, a little tricky, a little tricky. Don't worry, you got this, okay? You can handle this. All right, let's do another one. What if I said 3 to the negative 2 over 3 to the 9th? Go ahead and solve that one for me. This is going to flip, remember? This has got to flip. All right, so then you're going to get 3 to the 11th with a 1 on top. Okay. All right, let me show it in the reverse version of this too. All right, for this one, you're going to do, I'll just do the same one, 3 to the 5th, 3 to the negative 4th. All right, what happens here? This has got to flip up. All right, we're kind of getting it. A little different. It's a little different. No worries. All right, let me try to show you something now. All right, now I'm going to throw you into a slide deck. All right, let's actually deal with this. This isn't too tough. We got this. When we're doing the slide deck, let's make sure, let me get my stylus, that we can try to explain ourselves too. So for this one, we were kind of talking about when you have this one, what should you do? You must flip the negative to a positive and it must flip sides as well. And then I'm going to put the answer. I can get a little fancier here, I think. I can go 1 over. When I hit that button, I did 1, and then I did the backslash. 3, and then shift 6. Remember I talked about this a little bit to the 3rd power. We talked about that. We've kind of done this slide deck before, but we're going to go into the last couple slides, okay? Cool. Next one, you can handle this one. Go ahead and sketch your answer. Go ahead and explain the rule on this one. You remember the exponents have to multiply. Do the best you can. Miss Alonzo, feel free to pause during this. Okay, very cool. Right here. Got this. No big deal. No issues with this one. Okay, now we're going to get to the more of the... This one's a little different. So there's a couple ways you could solve this. Let me just show you with the pen here. So I could say, first of all, you said, Marusik, you got to fix negatives right away. And that is true. You could do that. So to do that, you would what? You would move that to the bottom and make it positive, right? And then this would go away. You just made that positive and moved it down. Now what would you do here? Well, you know you're supposed to add when they're the same base here. So then you would get y7 on the top over y to the 4th, right? And then who wins the battle, the top or the bottom? Well, the top would win by 3. That one's a little trickier. We're going to get good at this, all right? Don't worry about struggling with these concepts now. We're going to go over them quite a bit, all right? So there was a lot going on there. You could do it that way, or for this one, it's kind of a cheat code. You could just add across. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 minus 4 is still going to be that 3. So that's also another way you could do it. And in math, there are so many times where you're going to have multiple ways to solve something, all right? So don't freak out on that. All right, let's go ahead and go back to this. Keep going. Try the same concept here. You can solve it 2 different ways if you'd like, okay? Solve it 2 different ways. Let me make this bigger so I can show you. And push pause. Miss Alonzo, have them go ahead and go for it. All right, there's 2 separate ways you could solve this. You could just go ahead and add straight across. If you did that, negative 2 and 4 is going to be positive 2, right? Then 2 plus 5 is going to be what? 7, right? And then 7 and negative 8 is going to be negative 1. You could get to this answer this way, right? Or, let me clear it. If you did want to just bring these 2 together, because they're both positive, and that's going to be 3 to the 9th. And then what about the bottom? Should these both go to the bottom because they're negatives? 3, 2, 3, 8. I move the 2 to the bottom. I move the 8 to the bottom, right? And what does that end up equaling? 3 to the 10th over 3 to the 9th. Well, who wins the battle? The bottom does by what? By 1. Again, tough concept, but you're able to get through there. I'm not going to think you guys can't handle this because I know you guys can, all right? My expectations are high for all of you. All right, next problem. You guys got this one. I'm not going to help you with that one. You guys got this one. Who wins the battle? The bottom does, right? Now, what do you do here? We did this with the whiteboards. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Remember, that has to go to the bottom. Okay? So it's going to be x to the 9th on the bottom. Okay? We're good there. We moved up to the bottom. Hopefully you can process this concept. This is the main thing you need to learn today. All right? Here, same concept. What's going on? Take your time. Push pause. That's got to go to the top. X to the 7th. Okay? Very cool. Very cool. Let's keep it going. All right. Ooh, go ahead and handle this one. Push pause. That's got to move up top. All right. There's our answer. Last one. Ooh, this one's intense. All right, I'll help you with this one. If you want to go ahead and try it, go for it. But this one's a little intense. First step, I want to move this up top, right? But I also want to move this one down low. So look what's going to happen. Let me try to get a different color here now. All right, so Y10 goes to the top. Y6 goes to the bottom. Okay? Then what? There's a battle that's happening. Who wins the battle here? The top by 4. Pretty intense. I know. You got this, guys. You can handle this. Okay? All right. Best of luck. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow.